welcome back to the Affirmation Addict podcast. My name is Pyle, and you might hear that my voice is a teeny bit raspy. It's almost back to normal, but it's quite fitting for today's episode theme, which is what my manifestation practice looks like during busy days, busy weekends, and busy seasons. I feel like we've been in such a busy season the past few months, ever since like February onwards, but then also Christmas and holiday time always feels busy too. I think naturally for most people. Um, so I thought it would be really fun to just record a very honest and authentic episode about what my spiritual practice actually looks like during these seasons. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know I've been posting kind of like I try to post my daily spiritual practice broken down into like mental, emotional, energetic, physical, and spiritual, because I think that our spiritual practice isn't just like the 5 minutes in the morning or the 10-minute meditation. I think it's how you're taking care of your entire vibration throughout your day. And your entire vibration is made up not only of the mental component, but also emotional, energetic, physical, and spiritual. Like you are a holistic being. And I think a lot of the times manifestation leaves most of the other elements out. We focus so heavily on mental, and I would say spiritual comes next, spiritual slash energetic. And there's nuanced differences where I teach that kind of more in my programs and courses. But I thought it would be really fun to just share how I manage my energy through really chaotic seasons of life. And for me, it's currently wedding season. Two of my childhood best friends just got married, and that this past weekend was one of them. And that's why I lost my voice. And it's just for us, Indian weddings, like it's 4 days and you're driving back and forth, you're getting ready, you're doing dance practice for your dance performance, and there's so much happening and so many people, and then you're getting ready and you're taking pictures. Like there's just so many things happening. But then there's the other component where it's like a very emotional component, especially with this group of friends who is my childhood friend group. So there's a lot of inner child work, there's a lot of change. We've been in each other's lives for 20 years, and so that can bring up different emotions. Everyone's parents are there, and it can be a kind of a perfect scenario for people to get triggered, for people to make comments, for subtle things as well. So it can be emotionally a lot. You're seeing people who you haven't seen in 10, 20 years, or maybe you're seeing people you had history with. So many different things are happening. And by the way, I'm saying all this, and not all of these are true for me, but might have been true for some of my friends. So don't make assumptions. But I think it is so powerful to realize that manifestation isn't just about that outcome. It's not just about your end result. The end result is only like 1% of the manifestation process. I honestly think true manifestation is knowing that these principles are in your back pocket for all seasons of life, busy seasons, slow seasons, sad seasons, and happy seasons. Like the manifestation tools aren't just meant to be used to try and get something. They can also be used to just help you feel better in your day to day life in a situation that usually would have triggered you, or in a situation that would have made you feel uncomfortable. But you're like, actually, it's not affecting me because I have the right tools and I know how to practice them. So I feel like for me, typically busy times create a sense of distance between just me and myself. I feel really kind of aloof with myself. I feel out of touch with my practice. I feel easily triggered. I feel irritable. I feel like a constant state of overwhelm. And this busy season, Costa Rica was a lot for me. I was also doing some intensive coaching during that time. But this time, this past wedding and the past few weeks, like we had the wedding and we had Easter. So literally everyone in my life being there, I think can create a lot, can stir up a lot of energy. And I feel like I handled it so well. And I was just so excited. So I thought it'd be really fun to share. So those are some life updates. Like nothing crazy is going on. Actually, for us, the month of April is so chilled out, which I'm really excited for because Tom and I wanted to travel a lot less when it's nice in Arizona. And April is kind of our last month of like great weather, and I love the weather here in April because it's like starting to warm up, but it's still kind of a little bit rainy. So my favorite combo is like the rain plus sun, not like gloomy rainy days, but like sunny rainy days. And we get a lot of those here, especially the past week. So I'm just super happy because we have a really chill month up ahead. However, busy season for me was just filled with really practicing what I preach, because this past year I finally understood what I meant by manifestation as a lifestyle. And I've really been able to, just having that awareness myself has allowed me to help practice it even better. And then I'm noticing such powerful shifts where it's like, crazy situations happened. Some drama happened. Of course, I think weddings always have a little bit of drama directed towards me. But I was so unaffected. Like, people were trying to create some sort of chaos because I think a lot of people normalize chaos. And I know I talked about this before, but that doesn't have to be your truth. And me understanding that about some of the people I was around made me realize that, like, I don't have to find like truth in that. So they were trying to create chaos unintentionally, not even intentionally, maybe intentionally, but I'm taking it as unintentionally. But like, it didn't affect me. They felt chaotic about it. I didn't. And I was kind of the problem in the situation in their eyes. I don't think I did anything wrong. However, everyone has their own side of the story, right? So there was some drama, and I actually feel like I handled it so well, whereas old version of me even just a few months ago would have been so down and out, so uncomfortable. And I was handed multiple situations this weekend where I could have just taken it super personally or felt personally really attacked, or just made it mean something about me, or felt all sorts of ways. But I was like, literally, me and Tom set the intention, like, we're gonna have so much fun together. And we had the best time. Like, we had so much fun. We enjoyed ourselves. We showed love to everyone who we were around. We weren't trying to treat people poorly just because that's how they might have been treating me. But it was so amazing. And I don't even feel bad about it. Like, I don't even feel good or bad, however situations went down. Like, it's in the past. I just felt like it was an important example to bring up, because I kid you not, if this happened 2 months ago, I would have been on the floor crying probably. And now I was like, wait, this has nothing to do with me. This has all to do with you. And I still get to choose how I show up. And I can be petty if I want to. And sometimes that serves my ego. Totally crossed my mind. But then I was like, wait, this isn't going to be helpful to anybody. So I chose a different pathway, and it served me so much more. For example, we had 4 to 5 nights of back to back, just all day socializing. I didn't need a reset day. I didn't get sick. I usually always get a little bit sick just because so much energy and people kind of projecting and observing. And in India, we call it nazar. You never know, right? But like, I literally came out of this wedding probably the most recharged I've ever felt, because I was able to practice that spiritual practice. So, what is my spiritual practice looking like? Why am I able to still manifest and heal myself on these kind of chaotic days? A lot of it is just when I get a moment, reminding myself that in that moment, I have a decision. I can kind of scroll on my phone. I can waste some time doing something or the other, or I can use this moment and kind of habit stack and be strategic and say, hey, can I repeat a few affirmations, or can I do a quick reprogram, or can I visualize, or can I practice forgiveness, or can I just take a deep breath? Like, it doesn't have to be anything that complicated. I think we feel like our manifestation practice has to be super complex, and sometimes it does. Sometimes we do need that level of work. But in a busy season, when you're already trying to manage your time, take care of yourself and use your manifestation practice as an act of self care. Just like we carve out time for bubble baths and face masks, let's also carve out time for the practices that'll make us feel better emotionally, mentally, spiritually, energetically, or even physically. Like, for me, dancing is a huge part of Indian weddings. And I love dancing. I love dancing with this group of girls. Like, we grew up doing dance and choreographed dances together. We did dance competitions together. Like, I grew up dancing with these girls. So for me, I knew, even if there was chaos, even if there was things happening, the dance floor was going to be my physical release. The dance floor was going to be my physical processing. My shaking and Bollywood dancing and Indian dancing is just a lot more vigorous, or can be vigorous if you want it to. So I used it and I set that intention beforehand. Like, I'm going to dance. as much as I want to, as much as I feel good to. I'm going to have so much fun. And that's going to be my form of energetic release. And it was so powerful because on the dance floor, I was able to set that intention, and I used a situation I was already in, and I used it to my benefit with the intentions and with the right awareness of how the physical part of me was going to work that day. Another example was like car rides, right? You're driving back and forth from the venue, or you have a few minutes. I use my car rides to just reflect, to talk with Tom, to practice gratitude for like how well we're handling situations, for how good our life is, also for just like actually we could nitpick, and it feels really good for our egos to nitpick and debrief. But like, what if we don't have to? Like, what if we could put our egos aside and say the good things that we are experiencing in this wedding rather than trying to like show our dominance and our assertiveness? Like, oh, like a lot of the times I hear my friends saying, oh, well, like my wedding was better or your wedding was better, whoever's, right? Like you compare weddings, and it's like, no, like this wedding is its own energetic entity. It doesn't even have to be compared. So how do you feel in this energetic entity, and what's the energy you're bringing to this? So just little small super subtle shifts. And a huge thing I did was I knew the moment I got out of bed I was going to have no time. It's like you get ready, you're ironing clothes, you're going to dance practice, you're coordinating, there's so much happening. So I used my time in bed when I would typically scroll on my phone or check my messages and stuff. I said, hey, my journal is going to be right by my bed. I'm going to do 1 minute of writing down affirmations. And that just intention and knowing your own patterns and knowing where you tend to push off your spiritual practice and making it easier for yourself is super helpful. Another thing, this is a plug, but I honestly live by it, is my app. So I use Affirm It when I don't have that much time. I have the section called routines, and those are like 5 minute little pick me ups that I've designed for different situations. So there was a situation where I got super anxious this weekend, kind of not to do with anyone else but myself. And I just went to the bathroom in the middle of the reception. I went through that on my phone, and I came out feeling like a new woman. And it's just knowing the different tools that you have access to and letting yourself use them, because so many of these tools are just internal, but we don't really know how to practice and use them. And so many of them are actually external too, like inside of Affirm It or other apps, I'm sure have these types of features too, where it's like you have these little quick pick me ups that you can do in public places. And for me, it's getting smart, getting strategic, and being resourceful with my manifestation practice. So a lot of these things you can just do in your head, and it's just making the decision and conscious choice to do it. You don't need a journal for everything. You don't need quiet peace. Like it can just be in your head. Even as someone's talking to you, you can totally tune out if you want. I did that. One auntie was talking to me and she was being so negative, and I was like getting really drained. So I kind of just, every negative she was saying, I was thinking of the opposite and a way to see it in a more positive light. I wasn't saying it to her because it wasn't my place, and that's probably not like the nicest thing to do. So I didn't do it. I could have, but I didn't. That was my people pleasing coming out. But to protect my energy in my head, I was like, what's a positive spin on that? Or what's a better reframe instead of complaining about it? And also practicing non judgment. I think weddings and social settings, judgment and comparison and jealousy and all of these things can seriously come up so strong. And you might notice you doing it, and you also might notice other people doing it to you. And both of those are perfect opportunities to practice all of this manifestation work. How are you not going to judge someone? How are you not going to blame them? How are you not going to assign a certain label to them from this point forward, or treat them poorly, or be petty with them, or judge yourself, or shrink yourself down, or feel forced to show up bigger than you want to? All of these different things are such powerful practices, because manifestation isn't just a one-time thing. It is all the time. You're always manifesting. So those are some of the ways I manifest during busy weekends where you kind of have no time for yourself. And I would say my favorite places are car rides and bathrooms. I will run to the car ride, or I'll say, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. And even if I don't go to the bathroom and just go on a quick little walk, it's a perfect place to reset. And lastly, just stepping outside. Fresh air can be so healing in a really intense situation. So just changing your environment and allowing yourself to do that. We often feel guilty for like prioritizing ourselves in situations like this, but that is actually how you manifest as a lifestyle, and especially when you're on a busy day. We're surrounded by different types of people, different things to do, and you have to be creative in the way you take care of yourself. So that's kind of the way I take care of myself on busy days, especially wedding weekends for me. But these are tips I do all the time. And I think my best kind of advice for you moving forward, if you do notice that you keep pushing off your practice or life just feels like it's in a really busy season, is to notice what is stopping you from your manifestation practice. Is your journal really hard to access? Or do you have a certain distraction that you always replace your manifestation practice with? Maybe you always go cook a meal, or maybe you scroll on your phone, or maybe you add something and do something else on your to-do list. Like, what are your patterns and how do you work with those patterns? Because your patterns are going to be a little bit different than mine, or maybe completely different than mine. And that's what you have to work with. And I can't tell you your patterns. You have to observe them and be honest with yourself. So don't judge. It's just, hey, you're getting information. So once you get that information, then you can be creative and say, hey, here's a little place where I can insert. Maybe you're really consistent with drinking 10 cups of water a day or something. So maybe you have something on your water bottle that reminds you or that prompts you to do a spiritual practice of some sort, and getting creative with that. Maybe you always open your laptop. What if there's like a piece of paper in your laptop and it has an option of a spiritual practice for you to do? So just getting creative with making your own life easier and supporting yourself in that way is probably my biggest tip for helping you manifest on busy days, because it is so easy to just let the time fly by. And slowing down with that awareness of what your day usually is like. We do have like, we are repetitive human beings. Like, that is our nature, is repetition. Interestingly enough, repetition is also what creates our reality. So realizing like, what is my repetitive nature? What are my patterns? And how do I work with those patterns? It is so fun and so powerful, because then it feels like your manifestation practice is actually custom to you, not what works for me, but what works actually for you. And lastly, I think this really, really works well when you can get back to the basics of manifestation. I've been talking about this a lot, but I think there are so many misconceptions with what manifestation actually is, how it works, and how it happens, that refreshing your foundation, re-understanding what your manifestation definitions are and how manifestation works and what it actually means to forgive and how do you actually practice detachment. All of these, I think, are such a direct correlation to building a really strong manifestation foundation, which I know is the most like unattractive thing. But I think when you have that strong manifestation foundation, it's like when you know it like the back of your hand, nothing can kind of take it away from you. Very similarly, when you know manifestation at its root, like the back of your hand, nothing can take away the certainty and the joy and the excitement of the process. Kind of like fear and worry and obsessing has no place when you know with such confidence how manifestation works and how you are able to manifest no matter what your life is looking like. It's a really empowering place. So if you do want help building a stronger manifestation foundation, it's exactly why I designed my step-by-step guide to manifesting as a lifestyle. It's literally a manual. It's over 80 to 90 pages. Like, it's long, and it's designed in a very step-by-step process where whether you're a pro or you're literally starting from the beginning, you can start on step 1, work your way through step 10, and you will learn how you can manifest on your own way as a lifestyle. And essentially you blend manifestation into everything that you're doing to the point where your manifestations come into your life as just a byproduct of you being you. So it's not like this external separate thing. Like you're almost becoming one with manifestation because that is your true nature. So it's a really powerful process. It's worked so well for me, and so many of my students and clients. And if it's something you're interested in, I talk more about this in that guide. It is self-paced. It's like a PDF. You get instant access to it. So I will link it in the show notes if you do want to learn more about it and learn your manifestation fundamentals, but also learn like how do I create my own manifestation practice that I can lean on, because it's allowed to look different. It's allowed to change day by day because it's meant to change with how you feel each day, each moment. Like you're not always going to feel anxious. Once in a while you might feel anxious, but not all the time, right? And that's what I want to help you with, is making manifestations seamlessly fit into your life rather than it feeling like another item on your to-do list. So I hope this episode was helpful. I hope it gave you some good ideas on how to manifest in a busy day. But I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. Bye.